couple of videos ago, I did a collection of my collection video of my Atari 2600 games that I own, and I thought it would be rather fitting to follow that up with, that was the first system I ever played on, computer console wise. I think it might be a good idea to follow it up with the very first console of, shall we say, the newer generation which followed that into the 1990s, that I actually owned myself, bought with my own money. So I'm skipping the Amiga because that was my first computer and thing that we had proper done of that that ilk. We moved from the Atari 2600 onto the Amiga, into the 16-bit era, and then we move on to consoles. And I thought it'd be quite fitting to do that. So welcome to what is my Mega Drive collection video, updated for 2023. There is somewhere on the channel, which I might put a sticker thingy in and what's it below, that taking back to my first time I did this, probably around about 4 years ago nearly now. And I'm just updating it because, well, I've added a few more games since then, quite a few more games since then. And you may not have seen some of those before, you may not want to see some of these before. Again, I don't know. Right old mix, as always on this channel, as somebody quite rightly pointed out in my DS video, a less than stellar collection, or something like that anyway. And I took it in the spirit it was intended, because it was. I did say at the start it was a less than stellar collection. This one I think here is a little bit more, I think it's better. There's a fair bit of fodder in there, but we can talk about the fodder because that's what you like to do. This is Retro Bear, this is the Gaming Pantry. If you've not even been in before, welcome aboard. And let's start off by showing you, sadly, what isn't the one I had back. I bought my Mega Drive back in 1994 from somebody at college who was looking to get rid of theirs. They just bought a 3DO, I think it was, or a CDI. I could never remember which one it was. And he wanted to move on his Mega Drive at the time, so I bought his off him for 50 quid. With a stack of games, which I don't have anymore because I traded it all in years later to buy 2 PlayStation 1 games. So this is actually the one I bought when I started recollecting again back in 2000 and I'm going to say 8, 9, which I bought from a car boot for a tenner. That's what it was, just came with that and a controller. It is the classic one. I have got a Mega Drive too. Everyone knows my opinions on the Mega Drive. I absolutely hate it, but I mean, look at that. I mean, that is just aesthetically beautiful, isn't it? You've got the slider control here for the volume. You've got the stereo headphone socket, which is missing from the second one as well. Big chunky on-off switch, nice. And there's a reset button there as well. And it's been really well looked after, this one. I'm saying, yeah, I've played it quite a fair bit. I mean, it is, you know, from that era, my favourite console, no doubt about it. I'm going to put that back just on there for a second, and I will say this is also worthwhile having some additions for it. Now, I don't have many accessories for the Mega Drive. I've got the recently got the 6-button joystick, which I haven't got in here at the moment, which I should have showed off really. Not the 6-button joystick, the arcade joystick, the great big black sleeky thing, which is really, really beautiful, which I've always wanted. Not really going to use it because the arcade sticks aren't really my thing, but that's it. But I also managed to pick up many years ago one of these, which to the more tuned eye of you will recognise it as a Master System converter, which means that you plug this giant piece of plastic, and it is a giant piece of plastic, in the top of your Mega Drive, and it enables you to play Master System games through your Mega Drive. This is, you know, the early days of backwards compatibility. Now, little story behind this one very, very quickly. I went to Birmingham many years ago, probably, again, around about the time I was collecting. I knew there was a market stall in the, I think, I can't remember what place it's called, there's the Bazaar. There's a strange place in Birmingham where you can go and buy lots of weird and wacky stuff. And there used to be, I'm not sure if it's still there used to be like a games shop in there as well. And I thought, I hope they've really got one of those. I'd really like one of those. I walked in and then got one, and I paid the princely sum of 10 quid for this. I think at the moment, you wouldn't get much change from about 50 quid for one of these. Probably maybe a little bit more boxed, but yeah, it's just a loose one. But I paid a tenner for it, and that was great. And then, of course, I didn't actually have a Master System at the time. That's the little slot there for the cartridge to go in. I never actually had a Master System at the time, so it was a godsend really. I've got plenty of Master Systems now, so I don't need to bother with that. But it's also got the inputters there for the card as well. So if you've got those card games for the Master System, of which there are very few, and they're quite collectible, you could use that there. It's a really great little bit of kit. Really good idea. It's called the Mega Drive Master System Converter. I need to do a bit of work on that there and get rid of that label marking, but yeah, paid a tenner for that, so it's very fortunate. I'm going to have to put that probably on the floor now, because we're running out of space in here rapidly, so there's a bit of beard rustle on the old microphone, but it's going a bit pushy again. Right, let's get on with the games then. So let's do let's do the loose stuff first, and then we'll go through the big stuff. I'll try and be as quick as I can, but guys, you know, guys, I never say guys. Jeez, I'm on holiday. My brain switched off. I'll take that. Folks, that's better. Sounds much more retro bear than guys. Folks, this might take a little while, so I'll be trying to be as quick as I can. If I've got any stories to tell behind them, I will do. If I haven't, I'll just move on. First one, we're going to start off loose cartridges in. There's probably about 10, 12 of these. This one is a bootleg. It's Bubble Bobble, which was given to me by my late friend John, just above my finger there, who passed away earlier on this year. I'm sure many know that. You may not know if you're new to the channel. Well, it's a bootleg copy. He gave me that because he was a massive Bubble Bobble fan, and I shall forever treasure that one. He also gave me this one as well, which has actually got nothing on it. There's no label on it whatsoever, but I can tell you that is Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, which is the game I never had back years ago, but I always wanted to play it. I mean, when I bought that Mega Drive, I had things like Golden Axe 2 with it, Captain America and the Avengers, Mortal Kombat, Captain America and the Avengers. That makes my eyes water, and that's about a 50, 60, 80 quid game, you know, depending on where you are, what condition you buy it in, and you know, I trade it in for pounds. Loads of great, you know, sort of great arcade games like that, and I added a few things to it, my own interest, and I kept it probably for about, how long did I keep it for? Probably for about 5 years, and I traded it in. But yeah, I used to love playing the Mega. It was great fun. I used to love the chunky cartridges. Mate of mine had one at school. Loads of people had them at school. Everybody had them at school. Then they all moved on to Super Nintendo shortly afterwards. So, just great. This one I think came out of a bundle somewhere. It's a bit of a ratty old copy of WWF Royal Rumble, which, to be honest with you, apart from the inclusion of the Royal Rumble, was exactly the same game as WrestleMania. But I mean, back then, that was about, you know, that was a SmackDown versus Raw of its day. You were just delighted to have a WWF game because it was so huge at the time. This one came off eBay for about £6, I think it did at the time. It is a Genesis copy. Now again, some Genesis copies do work in normal Mega Drive. Not many, but some do. And this is the Terminator, which is a really tough game to play. But I only paid a few quid for it. And again, it's just, yeah, I don't mind loose cartridges. Loose cartridges, you know, loose discs I have a real problem with. I have a few loose, but loose cartridges I don't have a problem with. Especially on you know, where box games are very difficult and very expensive to pick up. So things like anything Nintendo based, having a box is you know, very good thing. I know some people go for those and what have you, and if you've got the deep pockets and the funds to do so, great. I'm never going to get into that because I was never a huge fan of the Super Nintendo. Would I ever pursue a full Mega Drive? No. Anyway, wouldn't even think about it. I'd buy the games that, you know, interest me, like the other ones here. You'll see some of these as we go through. For example, Dick Tracy. Again, a game I remember seeing reviewed in the magazines, and I thought that looked really, really good. And it's a tough game. It really is a hard game. But I like it. I think there's some gameplay on my channel somewhere of me playing this as well, really badly. But I like that game. I like that game. Really, really good. This one, again, a couple of quid, picked up. This is Eternal Champions. I'm not a fan of fighting games, as most of you are aware. Bit of label damage there, but I'm not so worried about that. This was Sega's own answer to Street Fighter. Yeah. Some people, it's got some fans. Some people really like it. I don't know. I can have a real take to it. Another game gifted to me by John. This is David Robinson's Supreme Court Basketball. I have no idea who David Robinson was. Not a huge fan of basketball either. Why have I got it? I don't know. He just said, "Do you want this?" And I said, "I'm never not the sort of person to turn around and say, I'm not going to take that." This is one of the compilations. Now, this I went to a CEX in Worcester, I think it was. And I was looking for a specific game which was on here, and I thought, I used to walk in and say, "I believe you've got these games." All the retro stuff would be on the counter, so I said, "I believe you've got these games," and I give them a list, and they go and find them, not understanding what, you know. I was written in Japanese. I got no idea what I was talking about, especially some of the younger people who work there. Some of the stuff you asked for. I've told that story many times about walking into CEX to buy a Super Game Boy. And the lad behind the counter got no idea what I was talking about. I had to sort of like guide him across the, no, not that one, no, two more, that one there, that's it. So I went down on to try and buy the Revenge of Shinobi, because it told me they had a copy, and when they brought back what they got, they brought me out a copy of Mega Games 2, which has got the Revenge of Shinobi on it, and it's also got Streets of Rage and Golden Axe, which was fine because I don't believe I have got any of those separately, as I can hear Mrs. Bear doing some shredding downstairs. Sorry. It's a pretty loud shredder. But yeah, so I paid the Mega Games 2 price for that one as opposed to the Shinobi one, because I said, well, that's not what you said it was going to be. It's not what you said it was going to be. Also another loose copy, and this one is Mega Games 6. Again, I've got no idea how I picked that one up. I'm hoping I picked this up after I bought that one. I'm guessing not, because this has got Revenge of Shinobi and Streets of Rage on it. It's also got Sega Soccer, which was World Cup Italia 90 Columns, everyone's favourite. Super Monaco Grand Prix, one of my favourites, and Sonic as well. So I'm not sure. I may just pick it up loose somewhere, I don't know. Not realise what I've got. This one I picked up. Now, where did I get this one from? I think I bought this. I was watching this on eBay for a while. It's X-Mutants. Because I thought it was actually a Marvel game, but it's actually not. I was getting my mutants mixed up. So you've got the X-Men and then the X-Mutants. And this actually isn't the X-Mutant, or the New Mutants, I think it was. This is a completely different comic series. And not a particularly great game either, so a bit of a cock-up with that one. But again, I think I didn't pay much for it. I think I paid £3 or £4 for it loose. I think the box one was after for about a tenner, but I thought occasionally I was adding it in there. And like this one, I also added this as well. And this is a loose copy of Flashback, which I played on the Amiga originally. I've got this game quite a few times. If you saw my Super Nintendo update last year, I've also got it loose on the Super Nintendo. Why, I don't know. And I'm pretty sure I've got a copy of the Amiga as well. But it's a good game. It's a very, very good game. Never played it. You need to pick that one up and have a go. So that's all the loose stuff. Now I'm going to be very careful when I move around in here, because if I do move suddenly, there's going to be a nasty accident or a crash of stuff hitting the floor. Right, so we are now moving on to the box games. So I'll try and give you some stories behind some of these if I can. Here we go. I'll have to sort of like put stuff on the floor. If I keep bending down, you know why. In fact, I might just grab hold of that. Because space is limited here in the pantry. I might just put that there, and then I can just put stuff on that. Hope it's there. Right, okay, so we keep doing that all the time. Right, so first game off, we've got, I don't know why they release games like this. This is M1 Abrams Battle Tank. I'm never sure why they ever release these sorts of games. There's a couple in there like that, which I'll get to shortly. Why it didn't, there's no hang tab. Obviously, go back to my Master System collection, I'm not so bothered about the Mega Drive stuff having hang tabs and things. So a lot of this stuff was bought when, you know, I just didn't have it. The case on the inside is broken, the manual's a bit tatty, but I tell you what, Birmingham Game Market 2019, fully complete game in the box. I paid £1 for that. Now, if you know, back then, and I suppose very much the same now, you've got to look round for the bargains. You can buy games on a budget. Yes, I know it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but you've got a box Mega Drive game for £1. Okay, conditions-ish. That's what it is. It is what it is. This one I picked up from Vintage Gamer. Can't remember what I paid for it, but it's probably over the last 18 months or so. It's Afterburner 2. Because. But it's a really nice copy, nice manual on the inside there. Really, really nice looking. But yeah, you know, if you want to play Afterburner, you've got to play Afterburner on a Sega console, haven't you? I've got it on the Master System, and you need to play a decent copy of this. I really wish, one of my all-time regrets is missing out on the reboot of Afterburner they stuck on the PlayStation 3 a few years back. I really, really regret missing that. It's not that I'm a fan of Afterburner. I just... I like playing Afterburner. I'm not great at it like I am at every other game I've ever played, but you know, just missed that one. I was just like, really wish I picked that one up. Right, one of my favourite games on the system, and one of my favourite games ever, is Aladdin, and you have to play this. I mean, all 16-bit versions. I mean, I know we've had this argument on TMB before. My favourite version of Aladdin is this one. Some people prefer the SNES one. The Amiga version is quite good as well. They're all great. All the 16-bit ones are really, really good. Sadly, no manual with this one. This was picked up at a car boot many years ago with the old hang tab on it. But I mean, if you haven't played Aladdin and you haven't got it, there is absolutely no excuse not to have it. It's one of the best games on the system. Right, this one is about the hang tab, and you'll see how much I paid for it when I show you. And this is balls, and I paid, yeah, look at that, 50p at a car booth. It's a terrible fighting game, it really is. But You know, it's what you want. It's complete. Okay, the hang tab's missing, but there's a decent looking manual in there, which is always good. The box is broken, sadly. Cartridge is in fair condition. But yeah, I mean, 50, yeah, that's what I used to get many years ago. Again, this is going to come from my first collecting phase, my first recollecting phase, 2008, 2011, but 50p. I mean, yeah, it's a terrible game, but you can't walk past something like that, can you? I got this probably a couple of years ago now, back up at Old School Gaming in Briley Hill. I'm really glad I got it when I did. This is Batman, because I think I paid about 15, 20 quid possibly for it at the time. And I know it's just gone up in price. The box isn't the best on it, so I'm going to have to replace the box. But again, it's a nice, honest copy. Nice, good, honest copy. The manual's obviously been well looked at. And again, based on the 1989 film, because it's got old Michael Keaton on the front. Not the best box. I can replace the box. That's not too much of a problem. But yeah, I was just having to grab that when I did, because not long after I bought it, I've noticed the price has sort of shot up since then. There's going to be a few games like this in here, which people are going to go, great sports games. Look, this is one I bought. This is Brian Lara's Cricket. This is one I bought back in the day because I'm a cricket fan. I played cricket when I was a kid. I like cricket. So for me, getting this coming out on a Mega Drive was the ultimate. I went and bought it brand new when it came out. It's a nice copy of it. This is very much the match engine from Graham Gooch's Cricket on the Amiga, if you've ever played that, which I have up there. Graham Gooch's World Class Cricket. It's very much that game engine. Not a lot of difference in it, but it's you know, as a cricket fan, it was the best game at the time. Obviously, the Brian Lara series is, you know, went from strength to strength, and that one to the PlayStation, and then onto the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. Got better and better as time went on. Really good. I've got a feeling somebody either donated this to me or I can't remember where it's come from now. Chuck Rock, which I played on the Amiga. Really good quality arcade platform game. Great graphics, lovely sound effects. Sadly, no manual hang tab. I ain't worried about that. And there was a sequel as well, Chuck Rock 2, Son of Chuck. But yeah, it's just really good cartoony feel to platform games. When games like, you know, Castle of Illusion came out on the Mega Drive, it sort of moved that bar up a little bit, and that would have been not long afterwards, maybe around the same time. I don't know. I'm not a historian. I could bore you to death about other subjects, but games, no. Cracking little game, this one. Spawned a really good series of games. Well, Desert Strike, Return to the Gulf. This was the one that started all the isometric helicopter golf missions, which was very topical at the time. EA did miss a trick on that one, did they? Really good game. Again, I've got this quite a few times across the system. I've even got an American copy for the SNES because I've got a converter for it as well. But yeah, manual's in fair condition, not bad at all. Again, this probably would have come out of a bundle. I'm desperately trying to remember where some of this stuff has come from. This one I got a car boot sale and immediately became the envy of my very good friend Pete Fighter 2, who's didn't actually, he sort of was enthusing to me. He said, "You don't realise what you got there." I was like, "No, not really. It's a game I'm not particularly interested in. Got some damage to the cover, but again, I can swap that box out." And this is Dragon's Fury, which is a 3D pinball game. I hate pinball games, but again, I got this at a car boot for a couple of quid. Not the greatest box. I think it has a bit of damage from it, but the manual's all there as well. Also came with a free copy of the Sega Classics Mega CD disc, which has got Columns, Golden Axe, Revenge of Shinobi, Super Monaco and Streets of Rage on it, which I'll keep in there. Or indeed has a Mega CD to play it on, but yeah, so I'll keep that very much in there out of the way. So much so that I keep forgetting I've got it. And there's some 3D pinball action, but I think there's 2 games in this series. I'm sure Pete would very happily correct me if he was on YouTube. You can correct me from your Instagram. Hope you're well, Pete, anyway. Hope you're well. Seen your Instagram posts, seen you getting on with stuff and enjoying life, so that's good. Yeah, so, but I didn't realise what I got. It's not, again, just a game. You know, a couple of quid at car boot, so. Can't remember where I got this one from either. This is without the hang tab. This is F1 by Domark. Almost uncontrollably fast. Now, I'm guessing it's probably come out of somebody I know, because there's a Mega Drive baggie on it. It might be Al, actually. I know Al did give me a few games. He's bought me a few and said, "You want these?" So when he was sorting his collection out. I'm guessing they are probably from him, because we're about to hit the F section very, very shortly. I know he gave me a few there. That's too fast for me. I like the racing games fast, but that is just too fast. Really, really struggle with that one. Another sort of combat game, we saw a tank game earlier, we've now got F-22 Interceptor, which I believe also came out of the Birmingham gaming market for £1. Sadly, no manual, but I've got a warranty card, which is something. But again, £1 for a Mega Drive game. I'm not a huge fan of flight games, really. Not a huge fan of them. Played F-18 Interceptor when I first got my Amiga, and that was enough for me. But I don't know, that looks a little bit more exciting. That was all vector graphics. That does look a little bit more... Experience the real sensation of flight in the true 3D world. Fly 100 missions in Iraq, Korea, Russia, and the United States, or create your own mission. All of a sudden I'm intrigued. In the back, that doesn't sound too bad actually, does it? This one is quite... I don't see this all that often or heard about it. It's a game I recognise from the Amiga, which is called Killing Game Show. And this is the Mega Drive version called Fatal Rewind, which is actually not a bad little platformer. I say it's platform, it's a platform shooter. But yeah, nice. Again, this picked up a car boot years ago for pennies. But again, because it's not the sort of game that people go after, they go after things like, you know, Sonic Golden Axe, you know, they go after the big game title, they're not looking for things like this. And Balls 50p and things like that, you know. I'm guessing most of these came from Al, because yes, they've got manuals and things with them in bags. So I'll get through these very, very quickly. FIFA International Soccer, the one that started it all off. Revolutionary isometric 3D game that actually didn't suck. And you can say what you like about them, because I absolutely love the FIFA series. This one was my absolute favourite. I bought that brand new. This one actually didn't come from Al. I got this from somebody else because someone's written all over the manual. But yeah, I mean, this is, I think my mate Dave 37 Retro sees copies of this everywhere. But he's literally one of my favourite football games ever. I bought that brand new and I spent so many hours playing it. So many hours. Really is a fantastic game of football. This one, you'll see it here, picked up in a charity shop, and you'll see there I paid the grand sum of 10p for FIFA 96. It's, again, honest copy. Now, I played this on the 3DO stroke CDI that my mate bought, and I bought the Mega Drive off him. I also played it on the PC, and because it was all 3D then, and I was never very impressed with that side of things. So I much preferred this one. And this one I don't think I ever played at all. But this did come from Al, because it's got the manual inside it, and this is FIFA 97. This is the one with the indoor mode, which everybody raved about, and then didn't appear in any more FIFA games after that. So that's the FIFA's done, so you can come back into the room now. But I'm very proud of my FIFA. I like those. I like sport. I like sport, big sports fan, love sports games. So I'm going to buy those. This again came out of a car boot. I didn't know what I was buying at the time. This is Galaxy Force 2, which was one of those great hulking, rotating 3D hydraulic arcade machines. I searched for the word beginning with H. So I know real sort of understanding what it is. 1999 out of Woolworths. There we go, that dates it. And it's a bit of a mess, this one. It's not a great conversion. Again, how can you make a great conversion of something like that? Never played the original. I've played this. There is a Master System version as well, which worries me. I don't think I've got it. Probably not. We'll do a Master System collection. We'll find out, won't we? But yeah, that worries me a little bit. Next up, McDonald's Mick and Mac Global Gladiators platform shooting action, which was controversial in its day, I think, because it was very much tied in with junk food, which was a big talking subject even back then. But again, and it's just a dirt cheap game. You can get this anywhere. Master System, Mega Drive version, incredibly cheap to pick up. Shows no manual with it really, but it's one of those, again, games that sort of sits within the Mega Drive's history and what happened to it. This one I got, I never played it, did I? A good friend, Retro Ed, we talked about this game. He did Desert Island with me, and he said he asked for a game for Christmas, and he got given this, which is Joe Montana's Sports Talk Football. Joe Montana? Yeah, Joe Montana 2, this one. and he got given this as a good Christmas present or a birthday present, which wasn't what he wanted. But I bought this when I got my Mega Drive. One of the first games I actually bought. Again, I think I bought it second hand for a couple of pounds at the time, because obviously it was, you know, a sports game. Not everybody wants it. But as soon as I saw this game, I thought I've got to have it. Joe Montana, San Francisco 49er quarterback, for those people who don't know your sport. And the thing was, this actually talks using the Mega Drive's built-in speech generator, would actually provide some basic commentary over the game, but in a robotic voice. But it just sounded a bit different. It was the alternative to Madden, which didn't really catch on, unfortunately. But there we go. Now, where did I get this one from? Car Boot again. Car Boot, Jurassic Park. No manual, sadly. Oh, sorry, Stu, cartridges around the wrong way. That's what I do, that one. What I liked about the fact you've got this game is there were so many different variations on different systems. The SNES version was based on the Amiga version. The Master System game is completely different. The NES game, which I've got this game so many times. I don't know why, but they're all different. They're all slightly different. This is more platform based. But yeah, really strange start to it as well. Watch the beginning of that intro to that game. It's really weird. Not sure what they were trying to get at the time. This comes from the I paid £1 for it because it was at the Birmingham Gaming Market in 2019, and that is Kawasaki Superbikes. Missing the hang tab, and there's a slight damage to the back of the case, but again, it's complete for £1 at the time. For £1, it's a racing game. I don't think it's meant to be very good, but I think I've actually ever played it, which might actually sort of throw fire onto that. Why would you pay £1 for something that you never actually play? Well, I'd rather pay £1 and not play it and have it sat there for ages than pay £10 for it and do exactly the same with it, or £30 or £50, which I seem to be doing more and more in the last couple of years. But that's me being daft. Much better to do it this way. This when game collecting was fun. You know, I think sometimes the fun goes out of game collecting. It's collecting. It's not buying games to play. It's collecting. There's that disease again, where you know, that Venn diagram, where do you cross over into that back circle of being a collector and a hoarder and a gamer. And I'm sort of somewhere over the hoarding stroke collecting side now. Anyway, this came out of a Car Boot. I know that, and this is another one of those flight simulators, LHX Attack Chopper, which I remember from being on the Amiga, and they used to rave about it in Zap 64, I think it was. And I remember reading it something. How can you give, you know, a massively big review to a game based around flight simulators? But again, you know, very, very popular enough that EA felt it was good enough to stick out on the Mega Drive. There must have been a market for it. I don't know. Maybe there was. Maybe there is. I don't know. Mega Games 1. We've all seen copies of that everywhere. Super Hang-On Columns and World Cup Italia 90. No manual. But quite frankly, it's one of those games. If you haven't got a copy of that, you need shooting, really. It's not a good copy of it either, but it's a copy. This came out of Sega Supplies down in Old Hill, not far away from where I work. Absolute bargain to find this there. Not my favourite series of games, but I can get by with it now. It's Micro Machines. This is Micro Machines 2 Turbo Tournament, and I paid a shockingly good price. This wonderful condition, really is beautiful, that one. Really, and it's a great find. I think I may have paid £5 to £8 for some this, maybe 10 quid tops. But I mean, just to find it, and yeah, apart from missing the Sega stick around the outside of the box, it's really good condition game. Really good. And then this one, I think probably got out of Vintage Gamer because I probably did. Big Pac-Man fan, so a copy of Ms. Pac-Man, which I think is the only variant I've got in my collection of this particular game. But very nicely complete with the old manual there. Do like a bit of Pac-Man. Play Pac-Man on the 2600 all the way through to playing Pac-Man Championship on the PlayStation 4. You know, I will happily do that. Right now I've run out of space there, so it might be a good idea to start over here and work my way up. This is the game I can never find any information about. I'm not sure why. Well, this is NBA All-Star Challenge. Again, this came out of a cart boot for a couple of quid. No manual with it, but I could never ever find any info about it. It's one of these games I see it typed in CX and I just couldn't find it listed anywhere. But like I said, I'm not a huge basketball fan, so. But again, you know, I'm not going to walk past that. This probably again came out in my car booting days. This is NBA Jam, which again, not you know, I prefer my sports to be simulated rather than doing arcade action. Although again, having played it, I have appreciated it a bit more over the years, so I'm not quite against it as I used to be. But I think now, if I want to play as the Chicago Bulls or, you know, the other teams in the NBA that I don't know about, limited knowledge of basketball, LA Lakers, that's one I know. I want to play as them rather than two people and have some sort of stupid cartoony game. But like I said, I've changed my opinion over the years. This was one of my favourite games when I first got my Master System, Mega Drive. Sorry, Master System, Mega Drive. Oh, I'm getting tired. I'll sip of coffee. Yeah, so the first game again picked up sports game. Such a playable game though, such much fun. NHLPA Hockey 93. I spent hours playing this. Absolutely used to love it. One of my favourite bits and bobs from back in the day. It's got a slightly broken case, sadly, but again, nice condition on the inside. Common to find, and it's not a difficult game to find. This one, you can find this in a John Madden's game as a double cartridge, which is an easy one to find, which I haven't got, but I'm not really bothered about that. But just a great game. Really, really good fun. Another game which is massive fun. Used to love this on the Amiga, and it's a great game, and it's a really nice copy actually. Apart from the fact that the Sega sticker is curled up around the side. This is Pac-Mania. And I've said before, when this came out, people were going, "Oh, what's the point in having Pac-Mania? Pac-Man's such an old game. Why have they just done it 3D? Everyone hates Pac. It's so old." But no, it's really, really good. It's even got a poster in there as well. Upcoming game poster. But yeah, it was just slight different variation on it. Still the same core game at the end of the day. Collect the pills, grab the power pills, eat the ghosts, go around the maze, but just done differently. Really, really good. Common game, this one. Sorry, I had two copies. I couldn't give one of them away. PGA Tour Golf. However, if you are a golf fan like I am, I mean, look at the size of this flaming manual. It's huge, absolutely. Look at the size of that. It is absolutely, it's like a book. It is a book. Look at that. No wonder the damn thing, and with the hinge broke on where the manual goes, and it's too bleeding heavy. But I, played leaderboard, then I moved on to this, and this is, a really, really, really good golf game. It's got proper golfers in as well, and pictures of them. And it's really, really well done. And the PGA series, again, I'd argue one of the, up there with Madden, up there with FIFA as the best defining series of games for that particular sport. And there's PGA Tour 3 as well. I had the original PGA Tour on the Amiga. I had the European Tour on the PC. I've got many of the Tiger Woods games. I've not played any of the recent ones, the McIlroy ones, or just the PGA Tours. I've not played any of those, but again, just to have 4 different courses, all the players from back in the day, and playing against them, just great fun. Really, really good. This one came out of a car boot. No manual this one, but this is Pitfall the Mayan Adventure, which I think I've got on other system as well. I've got a Pitfall game on the Wii. It might not be the same one, I don't know. Pitfall, I love them 2600. Not such a big fan of this one. It sort of feels a bit generic-y, platformy, which is what you'd expect. Right, I'm going to switch those around. Bear with me a moment, and there might be a low crash, and possibly some crying. God, that's heavier than I thought it was going to be. There we go. Right, I'll test my wrists out. Good, lovely. Right, on to the last third-ish, I think now. This is the same time I got the Micro Machines game. Double pack of Castle Illusion and Quackshot. And the Blue Spine as well. Blue Spine. I had to pay a bit more for this, but definitely worth it. Manual's a bit on the tatty side, but Just happy. Two games that, you know, really you should have. Quackshot I can't get on with. I don't know why. Just not one of my favourites there. What was a little Sega? I didn't know there'd be Sega down there. There we go. Not sure if that's meant to be there or not. I'm guessing it is. Not a huge fan of Quackshot. I think it's a bit overrated from those games at the time. But Castle of Illusion, yeah, it's pretty straightforward platform, but absolutely blew everybody away when it first came out. It was like, wow, this is what the next generation of console gaming is going to look like. All of a sudden we can all sit up there and take notice, can't we? So, what we got here? We got a copy of Road Rash, which I played on the Amiga originally. What a great game that is. Controversial at the time because you're going around pushing people off bikes and hitting them with chains and all sorts. But yeah, this was actually a game I did have back on the Mega Drive when I first had it in '94. But yeah, just a great game. Really good soundtrack for the Mega Drive as well. And if that's not enough, I've got a slightly battered copy of Road Rash 2. I didn't pay 20 quid for it. I don't know where it came from. This one's had the cases broken and there's a rip down the side there. There's a bit of a rip, you see, which needs a bit of repair. And the case is actually broken. But more importantly, we've got everything in there. And some codes as well, a bit of paper in. It's not a very good box. That box will need an upgrade at some point. Not great, so I will sort that one out. Yes, it's a really damaged box, that one, but you know, more of the same stuff. Really, really good. Really, really good. Got the sports game for you. Again, I think this may have come out of Vintage Game in the bargain bucket. Rugby World Cup '95, which is sort of like FIFA, but with rugby. No manual in that one. But again, only paid a quid for it, something like that. I've not played many rugby games. I've got a few. I've got a couple of rugby league games. I've got a couple of the EA rugby games, World Championship Rugby, I think, by another company. I don't have Jonah Lomu Rugby. That was one I really wanted to get when it first came. I thought finally a game based around rugby, but no well. Sonic the Hedgehog. There's also a copy of Sonic. This one actually came from Al because. I said, no, I've got Sonic on one of the compilations. He said, you haven't actually got a physical copy of Sonic? I said, no. So he gave me that one. I know it's sad, isn't it, with all the games I've got. Sonic actually I did have back in '94 to '99, but I haven't bothered to pick it up since then because I've actually got other Sonic games I didn't have at the time, such as Sonic 2. Again, I got this years ago. In fact, I managed to get hold of a second copy of it for some reason. And a friend of mine had this back when it first came out. So I actually gave him a copy for Christmas about 8 years ago. Spare copy I had. I said, I just wrapped it up for him and gave it to him for Christmas. I'm pretty sure he's still got all his old original stuff anyway, so he doesn't need another copy of Sonic 2, as if you do. And then there's a copy of Sonic 3 as well, which is actually, I'm very proud of having that one, because again, that was bought for practically absolutely nothing. There we go. These are my sort of Sonic games, the original traditional Sonic side-on view. I'm not a fan of the 3D stuff. Some of it's okay, but generally speaking, give me 2D Sonic and I'm very, very happy. Also got a copy of Sonic Spinball for some reason. Not the Master System version, sadly. Again, it's come out of a car boot. Really nice condition on that one. I'm surprised. It's a good if I remember that, because I saw a loose copy of the manual in the shop the other day and I thought, oh, do I need that? And I couldn't remember. But there we go. And again, happy to get this one at the time. Not a huge fan, as we know, of this series at all. This is Super Street Fighter 2, the special it's Street Fighter 2, the Special Championship Edition. Get it right one of these days. So I'm not a fan of it. But again, got this for a car boot for about £3. It's not quite as pricey as it used to go for. I mean, it used to go for a lot more than it does now. Again, honest manual. I think it's the best way to describe that one. It's still intact. Why did I buy it if I don't like Street Fighter 2? Because it was £3. And I was surprised at everybody when the value went up. I was like, ooh, it's gone up a bit, that one, hasn't it? You know, it's nice when you buy something like that and there's a little bit of an investment in it. Just makes you, you think, oh, well, I'm glad I bought that one, I did. This one I got probably one of my most recent Master System Mega Drive purchases. Master System. I think I paid £5 for this Space Harrier 2. Which Actually, it's very, the box is a little bit on the battered side, but the actual insides are very, very good indeed. Racing game, did pad this one back in the day on the Mega Drive. This is Street Racer. Again, that was bought at the same time as the one just showing you, Space Harrier 2. Came with some codes, got the old blue spine as well. Gets a lot of good reviews and write-ups, that one. People speak quite favourably. I think it came about 2 or 3 different systems. Pretty sure it made its way to the PlayStation. This also came from Big Game L. This is a Super Hang-On, which I played in the arcade all those years ago. Really nice manual in that one, as always, because he does look after his stuff. No hang tab though, but yeah, I had play that back in the arcade when it had the old hydraulic sit down motorbike. Lovely stuff. This one, I remember my mate first got it for his Mega Drive, and I was like, right, I'm going to come around and thrash you now, because you've been all the time thrashing me on the games on your system, so it's about time that I came round to your house and thrashed you on this one. And this is Super Kick-Off. I was able to extract some revenge for so many years of hurt. Nice copy, but you should expect it to be, because it's so bloody common. What do we say about people in Kick-Off? And you know, people who don't like Kick-Off don't like it because it's too realistic. Because the ball doesn't stick to your feet. But you can argue that in some cases, when something like Sensible Soccer, where the ball sticks to your feet, is actually you know, a much slicker game. You can do much more with it. I don't know. I grew up with Kick-Off. I prefer Kick-Off. When Sensible Soccer came out, I thought it's good, but it's not Kick-Off. Super WrestleMania, which was a game we were all dreaming of back then if you were a wrestling fan. Sadly, retrospectively, not quite as good as it was. But that was a game we were all thinking of. We remember playing things like WrestleFest and Superstars in the arcade, and that was about as close as we got, damn it, for a number of years. Ultimate Warrior, British Bulldog, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Papa Shango, Shawn Michaels, and a couple of others as well. $1 Million Man and The Undertaker, I believe, they're on the front there. Was The Undertaker on that one? No, $1 Million Man. And some random in there. There we go. That came out of a car boot as well. Bit tatty around the top, but still. This one I got a vintage gamer. One of my favourite games. I played the import version because my mate got it on import. He got the Japanese version, which is called Marvel Land. And he lent me that many years later. I did give him back. And then I didn't realise that there was a European PAL release for it. So this is Talmit's Adventure, which is a lovely copy. Really, really lovely copy. And yeah, this is just one of those games that it's a super cute platformer, you know, sort of thing that you play for more than a couple of hours. You end up having type 2 diabetes, but it's just got that ridiculously annoying tune that plays all the way through. And it's just got memories for me of playing that, and my mate and his mate making up stupid words to go with the song. It's one of those things you had to be there. If you weren't there, it's not mean anything to you. But again, it's nice to have things like that within your gaming collection, that, you know, even if it's a game you don't play very much or you're not particularly interested in, it still makes you smile for the reason that you can remember some fun stuff that happened. Tasmania, which at the time graphically blew everybody away. Played now, it's a bit of a ponderous, slow platformer. Yeah, I'm trying to find some more superlatives to it, but I can't. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I mean, it really did capture. Well, I say capture spirit. It captured the look of the cartoon series. I think it captured the cartoon series very well. I'm not sure if it was loosely based on it, but you know, some of the characters in it didn't seem to have much relation to what you saw on the TV series. Good TV series, mind you. This one was given to me by John. To give me quite a few over the years. This one actually come all the way from Oxford, according to this. How weird. This is the Ren and Stimpy show, Stimpy's Invention. And there's an address at the bottom of that. How did that get on there? Someone's actual name and address on here. Yeah, I think this one of the ones that John had a double of. He wanted to did offer to give him something for it, but John being Johnny would never take anything for it. Not played that one. I only got it off him last year, so I'll get round to it eventually. Not a huge fan of these particular type of games. This is Theme Park. This came out of a car boot, so no manual with that one, because that's when I was a bit fussy about not having manuals. I like the concept of these games, but I tend to get bored with them very, very quickly. This one, I think this is such a great game. I think it stands up graphically today. I think it's a beautifully playable game. And this is Tiny Toons Buster's Hidden Treasure. I've got Buster's Bust Loose as well for the Super Nintendo. Two completely different games. Famous story to this one. My good mate Sean started spamming the TMB WhatsApp group at 5 o'clock in the morning with, I want to get rid of these Mega Drive games, does anybody want any? And when most of us woke up, they'd all gone. I know Colonel Rob snapped this one, I'm not sure whether he's had a manual or not, I know, but I was actually gutted to miss out on that one. So I had to wait a few years to get my own copy. But pleased to have it with the manual in my collection anyway. Great game, really, really great game. You've got to play those. This one, I played this on emulation more than anything else, but I absolutely loved it. So I had to get a copy of mine. I got it a few months back again, one of my last Mega Drive purchases. This is Virtua Racing with the Super Giant cartridge. The size of that, it's huge, isn't it? Double the size of the Mega Drive cartridge. Mind you, I suppose there's double the amount of game in there as well. Some people say it's a okay conversion, but I ain't gonna, it's an aged pretty badly, but I still think it's a very playable racing game. Loads of copies of this in my collection. I've got this on the Master System and across the 8-bits as well. This is World Class Leaderboard. Still a very playable, fun golf game, if a little basic, no manual because it came off a car boot. But I played this on the Master System about 18 months ago, and I was absolutely stunned at just how playable it was. Pretty basic by today's standards, but if you want to see how it all began and why we got golf games the way they are now, that is the one to pick up, World Class Leaderboard. Just 3 left for you now. World Cup USA 94. Again, this came either from a boot or a bundle, or possibly both. Not a great admirer of this one. I think this was probably just around the time football games started to get properly good again. This was, I bought this off my good mate Dana. This is the follow-up to Castle of Illusion. This is World of Illusion, but this has got Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. It's a beautiful, beautiful looking game. You can tell it's come from a collector because it's got the bag on it. But it's a beautiful game. Really graphically stunning. Even now, I was, being a fan of animation and cartoons, I was absolutely blown away by just how good it was to start when I first saw it, and it really does stand up. Honestly, really is a fantastic looking game. And yeah, that wasn't done by Disney, was it? That was done by Sega. Yeah, I mean they learnt, and Disney learnt from just how good how good their games could look on this system, and they wanted to do Aladdin and the Lion King and the Jungle Book and things like that. And the last one I'm going to show you, which is probably again a memorable game for me because I used to play this in the arcades. I've told this story before. I used to go to the cinema every Saturday with my mate Andy. They got this arcade game in there. I used to get in there and I used to get nearly all the way to the very end. I think I finished it maybe once or twice. I can't remember now. At a few occasions I'd go there and I'd have to take my coat off and you'd have to hold my coat because it was getting a bit sweaty, and have people standing around me watching me play it. And I thought, you know what, I had a copy of this as well. This was in the bundle I bought to the guy at college when I first got my Mega Drive, and I thought, I need to find a good copy of this. Doesn't have to be anything special. Just need a copy of this to remind me of the memories there. And found a decent one with a decent manual in the box, and it's Wrestle War. And it's got one of them posters in as well. But yeah, big graphics. He tried to be WWF Superstars, stroke WrestleFest-ish. Some of the characters are a bit, shall we say, obvious, particularly the Hulk Hogan lookalike who was given the name Bulk Logan. Yeah, to avoid lawsuits, but yeah, had to have that. Again, that's a cheap game to pick up if you want a good copy. Won't cost you a huge amount, and that's it. And that is it. That's the Mega Drive collection, my Mega Drive collection. It's a bit hit and miss. They all are, aren't they? They all are. And it's not going to be perfect, you know. And there's elements there of, you know, me just buying stuff because it was cheap, which is how I used to do things. There's, you know, quite a few people have passed things on to me, and more recent editions, you know, particularly Virtual Racing, Street Racer, Space Harrier, buying games that I wanted to buy. So there's a bit of mix in there. There's probably a few too many sports games. No Madden games. I mean, there's no John Madden games. I didn't realise that until I went through it, because there needs to be one in there. I'm pretty sure it's Madden 95 that I need to get, because I played the hell out of that as well when I was at college. So it definitely needs to be a Madden game in here at some point as well. I need to get hold of one of those. I think Madden 5, for some reason, I think I've heard it's not a cheap one to pick up, so we need a Madden game. What do you think? Let me know. I know I can take it. If you think it's all rubbish, I don't mind. Whoops. That's what it is. I think there's some good stuff in there. I think there's some really good platformers, particularly. There's probably quite more platformers in there that should be. Let me know if you think there's anything that might be of interest me to pick up, what you've got, anything like that. It'll be great to hear from you. Any feedback on that would be fantastic. You know what to do. It's there. It's not an obligation, but you know, my alcoholism is, you know, is rampant, so, you know, we could do with that, certainly. It would certainly help anyway, but it's your choice at the end of the day. I'm not going to force you. In the meantime, look out for other videos coming up soon. There'll be some more gameplay, I'm pretty sure, collection videos, maybe pickups, I don't know. I am on holiday at the moment, so I might be factoring in a few days out to go around and see if I can find anything. I did go out yesterday. I had a quick look. It was depressing. I'm thinking again, maybe I want to be doing that. I don't know. We'll have to see. In the meantime, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you back in the pantry very, very soon. Until then, take care. Bye for now.